Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Alicia Armitstead, and at 11:30, which I guess I'm a minute late, I set this up to interview Bobby Marchand, who is a patient of mine and has had an incredible journey of fighting cancer. And I wanted her to come on to share that journey and also not just as a patient and what she's done with my in my office, but also what she's done in her own personal life with being a vegan and her cooking. And, when I told her, don't eat this, don't eat that, and how she got creative with her cooking, and then how that enhanced her cooking to almost like in experimenting and not from a place of all the restrictions that I gave her, but as a place of healing and loving herself enough to step up to the challenge that I gave her as a new patient when I told her don't eat certain things. And she has been doing cooking classes via Zoom this whole pandemic, and they're amazing. So if you guys haven't actually checked it out and you just want to get creative with really healthy vegan eating, she has April 9th, Friday, 6:45 coming up, and I thought it was just perfect timing to get her on Instagram so that we can talk about her journey. And she also teaches yoga. So bringing in the yoga, bringing in the nutrition, eating well, but also cooking in such a lovely way was one reason why I wanted to spend time this Saturday to talk with her. And so give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get her on. Hold on. Oh, we may be having some technical difficulties. Let's see if we can do this. Hold on. I think, here we go. Yes. She's connecting. Testing. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Hello.
Okay. Can you hear and see me? Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
we
look, we have a split screen. Yay.
go. It works. Um,
Hi.
Hi. So I was just telling them about a little bit about everything, and doing the yoga and doing the cooking and doing the nutrition. And so, how long have we actually been together? When did we first meet?
I came into your office July 2019.
Okay, she knows.
Yeah. Yeah, July 2019. And I remember being like nervous, excited, like not knowing what to expect, except that I knew stepping into your office, my life was going to change.
Oh wow! Was that
So,
just after that first visit, or
yeah,
before that first visit?
before that first visit, I was strongly recommended to see you by Jackie Pierce,
Okay.
who is an incredible energy spirit worker. And she said, you need to go see Dr. Armistead.
Yeah. So through Jackie's energy work and having that recommendation, you knew that this was going to be life altering. And
Yeah,
in July 2019, where were you with your cancer?
I was in I think I was 4 chemotherapy treatments in,
Hmm.
and just noticing like as healthy as I was eating, as much yoga as I was practicing, that there was just a slight missing link. There was
And,
something I wasn't tuning into. I don't want to say enough, but um, I knew there was more that I could do.
yeah, and you were doing
And
everything that you knew, but something was missing. Like
yeah,
you, yeah.
and it
And
wasn't, sorry, go
go-
ahead. It wasn't about like working at it harder. It was tapping into something more subtle.
okay, yeah, that's fair. Like,
Yeah.
so going through, have you ever been muscle tested before? Or
No, I had never been muscle tested before.
okay,
And I'm always up for like, yeah, I'll try anything. Um, and
Oh, you cut out. Or maybe you can't hear. Oh,
Um,
it's okay.
no, it said did that thing where it's like you've reached your time limit for the day. Um, Especially if there's just wisdom in the body that Western medicine doesn't touch. So I'm always like, that's why like yoga, I was so attracted to yoga because it doesn't make logical sense, but it makes so much sense. And
Yeah,
so I thought that muscle testing was going to be something of the same ilk.
yeah.
Yeah,
And what I want people to understand is, whether it's cancer or stomach ache or headaches or depression, you can do Western medicine with muscle testing. It's not one or the other. Yeah.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
so part of the muscle testing was obviously just going through every single food, telling you what to eat, what not to eat.
Yeah.
And was that piece overwhelming, or did that make sense to you?
It totally made sense. And there was, I mean, it's funny, we were talking about this a few moments ago. Like, I cried. I cried. Like,
You
all
got
I wanted,
emotional.
I just wanted, like, my bowl of pasta with spicy marinara sauce and a mountain of Parmesan. Because in that moment, like, the comfort factor of things that are familiar during a time where everything is turned upside down.
Yeah,
We all have our comfort triggers, and mine was like, give me some carbs. I want my dad to make me a loaf of bread, and I want what I want. Even though I knew, like, as I'm putting it in, I was like, well, this might not be in support of what my body is trying, of what the Western medicine's trying to do.
yeah,
Um, and so the the couple of week grieving process was pretty intense. But um, then like the clouds kind of parted and I started to feel like, fatigued because of what my body was being put through and what I agreed for it to be put through. But also this clarity of like, wait a second, I get to participate fully in the side of healing that Western medicine doesn't touch.
yeah, yeah. That's very,
Yeah.
very true. So it was eye-opening in that fact for sure.
Oh, totally eye-opening.
Yeah, and I told you no wheat, no sugar, but I also told you no rice. So then that made it a lot more difficult.
Oh, yes. I came home with like this no list and I was like, oh, I got this. I've been cooking for years. I'm going to get creative, la, la, la. And then all of a sudden I was like,
Yeah.
no rice. What do you mean no rice? When you gave me rice back, I burst into tears and hugged you.
Yeah, so then try it again. That's
Oh my God. Right?
yeah, and well, you didn't eat it right away either.
No,
Yeah.
no,
You
no.
think I would think within 24 hours you would have bought that rice and figured out a way to really enjoy it. And you were like hesitant. You're like, I don't know.
No, I don't know. What I also learned from you really early on is like, I feel like there's a certain element, and I'm just gonna say it because I think I can say it, that like you can kind of like maybe bullshit your doctor a little bit. Like, yeah, I'm totally following the protocol. But like with you, there's like no room to hide because like the body doesn't lie. Like I could be like, yeah, I'm totally not eating wheat. And you can be like, liar.
Yeah. So you know what's funny is like it doesn't help to really call people out on their lies. So
No.
I'm like, if I'm like, hey, how's your diet? And you're like, I'm doing great. And I muscle test and I go through each of the foods and I see wheat shows up as a problem. I'd be like, wheat might have stuck in there somewhere. So I just kind of nicely am like, come on, guys. So
Totally. But one thing that I know, like, there's a few things that really stuck out in my mind at the beginning of our time together that really solidified, like, yeah, this is legit. There's two of them that are pretty huge for me. One, a dear friend of mine had sent me a tincture, like a CBD tincture for sleep. And so I was taking it and you had said to me, no alcohol. And I was like, that's cool. I can go without alcohol. And I came to you and you said, there's alcohol in your system. You're testing for alcohol. And I said, I mean, like rubbing alcohol? And you're like, no, like you're testing for alcohol. And I was like, wait a second. Like, I'm not, no. Like, and then I went, oh, well, what about a tincture? And you said, yeah.
Yep.
And I went, but it's like a quarter teaspoon. And you're
Yep.
like, it's alcohol. Like you're still putting it in. And that to me was like, wow, like the sensitivity level is remarkable. And
Yeah.
then it was so cool. And the other thing that really struck me that made me, and I think it was maybe on our first couple of visits together, was the particular chemotherapy regimen I was on. I came into you and you were going around my body and you said, "Wow, you've got platinum in your kidneys are testing for platinum." And you asked me about it and I had no idea. And then the very next day was a chemo treatment. And my nurse said, "Oh, you need an extra blood test today because we need to check the creatine levels in your blood because they get spiked because of the platinum
Wow.
in the carboplatin and it affects your kidneys." And
Yep.
I was like,
You were sold as if you
I
were
was sold. I was
already.
sold. I was like, wow, this is so legit. This is amazing. So I think it is a leap of faith
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
lean away from what we read online about nutrition and that it's like one size fits all, but it's really not. Like, it's really like, oh, cool. Like, this is so personalized.
Yeah. And the fact that I could pick up on it before you or I were even aware that it could be a problem. And the creatinine levels is the kidneys. So Western
Yeah.
medicine knows that it totally messes up the kidneys. And so they're checking for it. But
Yeah.
out of curiosity, do you remember, like, okay, they check for it, they see the blood work, it's ruining the kidneys. What do they actually
Yeah.
do about it?
Nothing.
Exactly. It's a little scary. They're
Nothing.
do a little less chemo the next time. So,
No, I,
or they just make sure you don't have to go on dialysis. They make sure you don't have to lose your kidneys. Like,
I'm not sure.
right.
I
So,
think what the reason why I was able to be like, okay, is I knew that the next week I was coming back to you, and I was like, well, Dr. Armisted's going to handle it then.
yeah, we
You
already
know?
picked up on it before. I was already giving you stuff to gently detox. And so when
Yeah.
it comes to chemotherapy, I can't really use herbs because it can interfere with the actual drugs. So
Yeah.
I have to use food. And so
Yes.
standard process is the majority of supplements I give. It comes from an organic farm, and I literally am just supporting the body so the body detoxes it, so that the chemo goes in, does its job, and chemo goes out through the kidneys. And you just give the kidneys the right nutrition, and
Yeah.
it can do its job. Yeah, so that's actually
Totally.
too. You didn't have to get so scared in your journey
No. No,
because
because I knew that I was able to be in both camps.
yeah,
That like I could lean into Western medicine, but then I could also lean into being cared for by a practitioner that like that helped me heal simultaneously. So it
yeah,
was like this beautiful like um ebb and flow, right? Like I didn't have to be like, screw it, I'm only going alternate, like not known as the conventional way, and I'm leaning like that, but to be able to hold both and feel results that
right.
were just like, what? Like, not that I felt like I could run a marathon, because that certainly wasn't it. But I felt like I was doing my body a dual service,
Yeah,
that I was leaning into the Western medicine and also leaning into supportive nutrition, supportive like spirit care, because there's a spirit underneath the what you do. That's
yeah,
so like it's so experiential that
yeah,
is like it's so rad, right?
yeah.
Because you have taught me how to listen in a much more subtle way. Like, is this good for me? Whether it's food or whether it's like situational, it's huge.
Oh, cool. So instead of
Yeah.
just doing muscle testing in the office and looking for the nutrition and looking for the weak organs,
Yeah.
And like, so it's my job to listen to the body, right? And then you
Yeah.
do what it is I'm finding, and you see
Yeah.
it, trust it, and you feel better. But then, like, psychologically, you took that to the next level about just like always tuning at, like, almost like it created, you already had a relationship with your body. You were already eating healthy, you were already doing yoga, you were already taking
Right.
good care of it. But then just the psychology of, oh, I have a relationship with my body. What does my body actually want or need in this moment?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah. And you facilitate that,
Yeah.
right? Like it isn't like you're just like pulling it out of your head and like, okay, so Dr. Armistead said I can't do this and I can't do that. My doctor says I can't do this, I can't do that. And no one ever tells me why. But I'm in the room with you and you're like, look, this is like this is what your body is saying. Can you sense that? And it's and not in like but in like the most nurturing way. You've taught me how to listen on a much more integrated level.
Yeah.
It's
Good.
so cool.
Yeah.
It's like the coolest.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad that you got that out of all of this.
Yeah,
Patients of mine, I don't think they always bring it to that next level. But I think you did. It's just like, oh my God, this whole new relationship now with the muscle testing, I can get in deeper. And
totally.
yeah, yeah. So if I say, do this, don't do this because of the muscle testing, and you
Yeah,
actually follow it, you feel great. And then if you
yeah.
don't, did you feel a difference when you didn't follow the program?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby's
And
like,
I was mad. I was like, I'm just going to sneak this one. And then my body was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. And did
okay.
you feel like more tired? Did you feel more anxious, or it all depends
Honestly, I
on
would
the
feel
day?
hungover.
Oh, interesting. Toxic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Toxic,
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't from
toxic.
alcohol. It was from a bite of
No,
rice.
it was from like either like just like a hint of a sugar binge. But now, I mean, and I feel like it's said all the time of like, well, once you stop putting it in, you'll stop craving it. And I was like, listen, there's nothing that's gonna not make me ever crave like a baguette slathered with butter and a delicious glass of red wine. There's nothing in the world that's gonna make me stop. I don't anymore.
Wow.
I want food that gives me vitality. And thankfully, I've been able to surround myself with cooking resources and encouragement from you, encouragement from my family, encouragement from my friends to like, okay, cook, what can you do?
Yeah,
Like,
interesting. Yeah, so they want to
yeah,
see the next recipe. And
yeah,
so it is all about getting creative. It's almost like, here's my
yes,
list, and just
yeah,
concentrate on that and not
yeah,
worrying about the no list. Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Like when I first came home from my appointment with you, my parents were staying with me. I think they're listening. My parents were staying with me, and I came home and I basically went like with my cupboard. So my mom's like, what are you doing, honey? And I was like, I'm only putting in this cupboard what I can eat.
Oh, that
I
was,
don't want to look at things. I don't want to look at the no's. I want
yeah,
to look at the yes.
yeah.
And that for me was like hugely empowering because the no's weren't like, na, 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 you can't have me. But like really filling my cupboards and my fridge um, and my love for looking for recipes, not at like looking at an old recipe and going, okay, well, I can't have that and I can't have that, but what could I replace it with? And almost until I got a repertoire, I pushed all of that aside and
Uh,
was like, I only am going to look at things I can eat and get creative within that before I look at what I used to eat and pull it back in with that lens.
oh, that is a wonderful tool or concept. And yeah, thank you for letting me know so I can help
You're
patients
welcome.
that way too.
You're welcome.
Like, you know what? Just get new recipes. Just,
Get
yeah,
new
that's part of
recipes.
creativity is like new, new, new. And
New, new, new.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, really good. And so, with the cooking classes that you do and sharing
Hmm.
the love of cooking with others, um,
Yeah.
have you always done cooking classes even before seeing me, or is this something that's been like you started creating so much because since 2019?
Cooking has always been a part of my life, like for as long as I can remember. And then I've been in and out of it professionally for a couple of decades
Okay.
now, in like various guises. And then when the pandemic hit, particularly, I've been like cooking on yoga retreats for a number of years now, and we'll sometimes have like the people who are participating in the retreat sort of like hang out with me in the kitchen, and we talk about recipes and talk about food and that kind of thing. And then when the pandemic hit and we were forced to cook for ourselves,
Right.
that's when it really began. Is I had a number of friends being like, oh wow, I can't go get prepared food as easily, and I really think it's time to learn. So
Right.
it kind of started out with friends, and then putting classes on Zoom, and helping people understand that healthy and delicious are not polarized,
No.
that
And- yeah.
they really are connected. And you know, I've had my cat is now knocking stuff over in the background. It's great. Um, like meals when I've been with like my family, they've been like, "Whoa, this is the most delicious food you've ever made." Whoa! And so like that is like cool.
Oh,
And then to be able to turn around and help people in their kitchens and help them overhaul their pantry, um and a lot like I was talking with some friends like last week about just like eating in alignment
mm. Well,
with
go ahead.
ourselves,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
As a chiropractor, I love the word
Yeah.
alignment.
I bet you do.
Yeah, I'm like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it should be in alignment. The
Yeah.
spine, the eating, the lifestyle, you know. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's always like, get in alignment, do the best you can. If you get out of alignment, then the goal is, okay, what do I need to get back in alignment? And in that, it's a game. It's an ebb and flow. We get stressed out.
Totally.
We stress eat. It's okay. Just get right back on board. I think it's really
Yeah.
cool to hear that like your family, the new recipes is actually your family liked even more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like when my parents were visiting in October, my dad would be like, "Can you make that thing again?
Wow.
Just make it again. Make it again." And even like a birthday cake made with like unrefined ingredients. Like 4 years ago, I would have been like, not a chance. And now, like I'm so excited about it, which I think is an interesting shift.
Yeah.
And I really like I know that I wouldn't have gone the distance if I wasn't handed uh, warning, 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 warning
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would say that the cancer was the warning card.
Totally.
It was a wake up.
Yeah. And I've been woken up before, and I thought, right? But like this was like the loudest alarm
Yeah.
that
And so,
like didn't shut off until I met you.
yeah, that's okay. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that also doing the muscle testing, realizing what nutrition your body needed, what
Yeah.
vitamin missing, what food was, not helping. And that allowed you to really take your health into your own hands on a higher level. And you were already doing it, and then it just reached
Yeah.
the level and this whole new relationship with your body. And so then
Yeah.
you went through chemo, and then you had
Mm-hmm.
radiation,
Yep.
and radiation sucked.
Sucked.
I still
Chemo sucked. And then I was like, whew, radiation's gonna be a breeze. And I was like, damn, this is hard.
yeah, and I still remember
Yeah.
seeing burn.
Yeah. And what was interesting is like what I realized in our working together is, it isn't just like what we put in, but like what we put on
Mm-hmm.
also really matters. And then I was handed, I was given a prescription for a cream.
Western medicine, like a cortisone cream or a
Cortisone cream.
yeah,
Yay, steroids.
yeah.
And I looked at it and I thought like, I will be taking this straight to Dr. Armistead. And I remember like
What is
taking it and bringing it to you and being like, what does my body say about this? And you were like, well, I'm not going to tell you not to use it, but let's think of some other alternatives. And then I did the alternatives. And every time I saw my doctor, who I adored, he would say like, oh, your skin, like it's burnt, but it looks really great. And I was like, yeah, that cream is just really great.
sometimes that's just the easier answer.
Yeah. Until my very last appointment when I said, just so you know, I didn't use the cream. I used this, this, and this. And he just sort of looked at me and was like, okay.
Yeah,
But
it's not worth an argument worth fighting over. Yep.
no.
Yep. And you found something else that really, really worked. So it was the sesame seed oil of all natural things.
Yep.
And
Sesame seed.
what else were you using?
Sesame seed, aloe vera,
Yes.
and this papaya enzyme ointment that a friend had given me. And I brought them all into you, and you were like, yes, 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 do it.
Yeah. And it makes
And
sense. Aloe is for the actual burn. Sesame seed oil is the full vitamin E, actually from nature, and then the enzymes that helps with the healing process as well. So
absolutely.
You know, it's definitely none of those three would hurt, and in combination, it totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And the incisions that I have on my chest from like having like the mastectomy and then the implants put in, like the incisions, when I went in to see my surgeon before I had my last like round of reconstructive surgery, she said like, wow, those incisions, like they look so good. It's like, it's sesame seed oil.
Yeah. So not only did we handle the burn, but we actually handled the scars.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Nature.
Yeah, and I was like, thank you, nature. Like, yeah. I think what is also incredibly compelling about what you do is you empowered me to sync up, right? In this like muscle testing vibe, there is that creating, and you've said this a million times to me, like we're creating the conditions for your body to kick on its own natural ability to heal.
Yeah. Yep. That's ultimately it is. Every now and then, like in a body emergency, I sometimes feel like, okay, I have to override the body, get it out of crisis, you know.
Yes.
But the goal always is to get back to a place where I'm just supporting the body to do its job.
Yes.
Yep.
And that, when I have to say, like in the midst of a health crisis, for that to be your MO, for like when, I'm not sure if this is true in every cancer patient's mindset, but there's this sort of out of control feeling of like, my body is attacking itself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And this like, how do I stop the attack? How do I stop the attack? How do I stop the attack? And like that overwhelming. And then to have a practitioner be like, actually, your body wants to heal. And let's get it into a place where that's the mechanism that's being fired is like huge.
Yeah, I just got chills.
It stops like the sound of the alarm that like going down, going like right. It actually allowed me not to take just like that, like, no, I'm breathing, everything's fine, to like actually taking like a full like breath towards healing.
Yeah.
And like
it stopped the mental rabbit hole like crisis of how the hell am I going to get out of this cancer hole?
Yeah, like, am I going to get out alive?
Yeah.
Or is this going to eat me?
Yeah.
Right?
Literally.
Yeah. Oh, how funny that, like, the fire alarm that goes off every day. No. But I remember before I came to see you that, like, I was doing so many. Oh, Kayla. One of my I would lay in bed at night and like tap into like meditation apps, like turn everything to sort of fall asleep and be waking up with this like just crippling anxiety.
Yeah, of course.
And then I met you and started on this protocol, and all of a sudden that heightened pitch stopped. And what I was able to feel empowered by was um, like just the overall healing that was going to be coming in was huge. I could rest. I
Yeah.
could like receive the treatments with just like, okay, let's do this. And not like, okay, but like almost it helped me partner with the
Yeah.
medicine,
With yourself
with
too.
myself. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, whatever toxic thing that this chemo is doing to me, it's okay because Dr. Armistead is going to teach me or show me how to detox.
Yeah.
And I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. So you were supported that way. You know, you're supported by your friends and your family because sometimes I
Totally.
tell people, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, eat this, eat this, eat this. And then they go
Yeah.
home to whoever they're living with, and the person that they're living with is like, I'm not doing that. And so they're
Totally.
totally on their own. They're not supported.
Yeah.
They have their own grocery shopping. They have to do their own cooking. And so thank God you felt supported that way,
I
and
did.
you were already doing everything you knew, which was a lot. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, the muscle testing and realizing that your body was saying this, this, and this, and that you could do more was actually more exciting. Even if at first it was a little overwhelming and we cried,
Yeah.
exciting to like, oh, I'm taking my health into my own hands and I'm going to detox this chemo, even
Yeah.
though, I'm in, and you have a daughter.
And I have
And
a daughter.
yeah. So I say that just because automatically, like, as much as I'm into alternative medicine and I live it, breathe it, it's
Yeah.
every part of me since I was 16. I have two daughters, and you're a single mom. I'm a single mom. And if
Yeah.
I had cancer, honestly, I might do both too, because
Yeah.
for me, but for my daughters, like, I owe it to my daughters to do everything I possibly can. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. And and that both can be done and that both can be empowering.
yeah. Now, yeah, alternative medicine is not always the answer, and it's not like Western medicine is the devil. Yeah, yeah, no, everyone thinks that I think Western medicine is the devil. So good. I'm glad we could get that out there.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the
Yeah, yeah,
it's I mean if it weren't for Western medicine, my mother wouldn't be on the planet.
yeah. Okay, so you see,
You know? I've seen it like keep the people I love the most alive.
yeah,
So like for me to turn my back on it feels so counterintuitive. And I think, people place so much expectation on that, oh well, like my doctor doesn't know anything about alternative medicine. Well, that's not their wheelhouse. Why should it's like they're maybe not going to. Like
right. It's frustrating for you as a patient, but
yeah,
at the same time, you have to choose what you tell your oncologist and what you don't tell your oncologist. And unfortunately,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I've had a lot of cancer patients tell their oncologist a little too much. And the oncologist is like, okay, the chemo doesn't seem to be working like it should, so it must be the supplements. And then I'm screwed. And I'm like, that's totally not fair, but it's your choice.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
my job. It's almost like customer service is like,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like I just have to support my patients, and sometimes
Yeah.
that support is them not choosing me or the muscle
Right.
test, and that's where they are in their journey, and that's okay too. Because the last thing I
Totally.
want to do is argue with the oncologist, argue with the patient,
No.
and that, yeah, exactly, that's like counterproductive to what I'm actually trying to do. And I get it, people are scared, who knows what
Yeah.
medicine is saying, but I
Yeah.
hate when they blame it on the supplements, because you and I know that these food supplements from an organic farm, is the,
Totally.
yeah,
No, that's not what's tripping the wire, right?
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I feel really fortunate that I have an incredibly humble oncologist in
Yeah.
the way that, like, I said to him, listen, what do you think about nutrition? And he said, I think you need to see the integrative team because that's not what I do. He's like, I really respect it, but I don't have enough knowledge to speak to it clearly. And when he said that to me, I was like, wow, like that's super
Yeah.
cool that you can say that and that
Yeah.
you support me seeking alternative care. And he said, like, they know what works. I have to trust that they know what works with chemo and doesn't. He's like, my job is to get you in the hands of the best surgeons I know and to get you the best like protocol that I know how to beat this
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. That's all you needed, you
That's
know?
all I needed. I was
Yeah.
like, green light.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Exactly. He doesn't
Yeah.
know it, but he respects it. That's good enough. And so
Yeah.
he didn't know the details, but he knew you were doing something.
Yeah. And I would, there was a couple of times where and sorry, I just got a little
No.
low on power there. Um, and my blood work was a little low, and he's like, oh, we can't, we're not going to do chemo today, but come back next week. And of course, it's like I'm bummed out, and I come see you. You're like, okay, great, we're gonna let's see what we can do in a week, right? And then it becomes almost like you were saying earlier, kind of like a game, right? Like, ooh, what can
Yeah.
we do? Like, what does the body say? Like, how can we build this up? And then to go to him the following week and him say, like, I have no idea what you're doing, but keep doing it because something changed.
Oh, neat.
And be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then now, like, thankfully in the space of remission that I'm in, I've had blood work again. And he's like, okay, I don't see vegans with this high of an iron and
Mm.
red blood cell profile. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I'm sensing I probably don't want to know about it.
Yep. It's
And I said, you're right. You probably don't. But if you ever do want to know, I'm happy to tell you. Um,
and
so
yeah, no, it's been really interesting that way, huh? Yeah.
yeah, and it's almost like, and not in like some sort of like devious way, but almost this way of like, I've got a secret, I've
Yeah.
got a, and it's like, it's invigorating in the sense of like, for whatever control cancer can take,
Mm.
what the relationship that I have found working with you is that the control that gets taken, you help give it back in a way that's not controlling, but like the
Here's what,
rain.
yeah,
It's
here's what you can do for your body so you can take your control back. And that's why I fell in love with muscle testing.
yeah,
And we just have a question right here that says, does muscle testing show if you're low in iron? And yes, it does. It can show where
yes,
you're nutrient deficient. And thank
yes.
you. And so that's how specific we can be. Muscle testing, I was just going to say, I can pick up on it, but it's almost like it's the muscle testing that gives me that biofeedback from the body to actually sometimes pick up on it before blood work picks up on it, because it has to
Mm-hmm.
reach a certain level before the blood work actually picks up on it. And so
Yeah,
that's so fascinating to me, and that's why I fell in love with muscle testing. It's quick, it's not invasive, and it actually can give more answers and more. It's almost like well, yeah, in your case it's different. We knew why you were toxic, we knew
yeah,
why you weren't sleeping, but I had to detox and then give the body the right nutrition in order to turn on the body's own healing ability. Yeah. And
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And yeah, and to show to people how it can be put together and how it can be done in a creative process, and it can be done in a vegan way. And
yeah.
so when did you hit remission?
I hit remission. Well, my treatment finished December 31st, 2019. It's like the best New Year's ever.
Yeah.
And I honestly felt like I was in remission like months before that.
Yeah, because that's
Months.
how amazing Yeah, that's what you do when you support the body through it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I felt support. This gave me the tools. Working with you gave me the tools to feel like I was supporting myself, and then also be able to allow others to support me more fully in a way that felt really integrated and really
Loving.
loving. Yeah, like loving is kind of like yeah, that word. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
loving.
form of self-love to take this on and to make these changes and get creative with your cooking, and then a form of
Yeah.
for others to support you in a different way. And I love that you figured it out for yourself. You took on the challenge. You obviously see the results, feel the results, but then you
Yeah.
found a way to then integrate it into the cooking classes to share it with others, especially
Yeah.
like, when everything else is shutting down, Bobby's like, oh, getting even more creative.
Yeah, let's do this,
Yeah, yeah. And
especially yeah.
yeah,
It it is like there is an immense amount of creativity within the boundaries that you've given me.
yeah. And I wish everyone could see it because not everyone sees it.
Well, I mean, it definitely there if you can like break through the resistance of like this is what my body is saying yes to. Even
Yeah.
if you don't want it to say yes to that, and you don't want it to say no to pizza, and you don't want it to say no to oatmeal. I
Right.
didn't want my body to say no to oatmeal, but you're like, listen, it's saying no to oatmeal right now. It's not going to be forever, but like, um, I, it just, it's gotten to be really fun.
Yeah. And
It's,
thank you for saying that too. Like all these food restrictions we're talking about, it's not forever.
it's
Bobby,
not, for,
it changed. She
yeah,
cried for joy when it started changing.
yeah,
Yeah, because we literally are trying to change the biochemistry of the body. Yeah.
yeah,
So it is really, really cool in that aspect. And building that relationship for yourself with the body, and how the level that you took it to with the nutrition. And did you see a difference, like compared to, 2 years ago in 2019 to now with your yoga? What's your yoga like now?
I listen a lot more to myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I notice when I'm like, oh, come on, do it. Like, do I really need to? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is just no.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think there's a lot more self-love. There's a lot
So
more.
much more self-love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that the practice of yoga and the practice of healing is lifelong.
Yeah.
And so if I would have just sort of dialed back on yoga and dialed back on the nutrition element once I was like in the clear. It's like,
Right.
okay, I don't need those tools. I'm going to put them down for now. Why? Like this new life style
Yeah.
feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm in
And it can,
remission, so I'm going to eat and drink pizza and wine.
yeah,
Like I'm gonna do
totally.
less yoga. Like, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's not what happens
No.
to most people because they realize, like, oh my God, this is life saving. I'm going to
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to continue.
Yeah.
I really wanted to. It's like the best I've ever felt.
Yeah. Even before cancer.
Yes. Yes. And there's
Wow.
moments where it's like, how do I say this without like I just want to feel this good for the rest of like the days that I'm on this planet,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and to engage in practices that steer me towards health, be it food, be it the people I'm around, be it the
Yeah.
practices that I take in, being the way that I conduct myself in business, what I do for a living. Um, so I know that you have spoken to this too. Like you do what you do because it healed you.
Yeah.
And I do what I do because it has healed me
Yeah.
or
And
it's kept
aren't we
me in the mode of healing.
Yeah, no, and I feel very lucky that we can do that. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too. Yeah, yeah. That you, yeah, have now taken your life to really just create, even from a money making perspective, like, oh, I'm going to make money by doing this lovely work for others as well. And so in that way, we're just, keep spreading and doing what we do. And I feel very fortunate. Yeah.
Oh, me too. Like uh, I want everybody to know about New York City's best kept secret, which is you.
Yay!
Like anytime anybody is like, oh, like I have this like recurring thing, I'm like, I'm gonna send you to somebody. You gotta go see Dr. Armistead. And they're like, well, what does she do? And I'm like, she describes better what she does better than anybody else I know.
Oh,
So reserve it, reserve any judgment and go.
yeah, yeah. So you really
Yeah.
just leave it open. You just like, oh, have
I
an open
try to
mind,
leave it
go.
open.
Yeah, yeah.
I so, depending on the person, sometimes I'll give them like sort of like the Coles notes of my experience.
Yeah.
And I've definitely sent some people your way that I'm like, oh, that might be a really hard sell. But then they come back to me and they're like, I have no idea what just happened, but like my life has totally changed. It's
Oh,
like,
cool.
yes. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
average person walking into my office has never seen muscle testing. So I'm really good at explaining it, like you just said,
Yes.
because I
Yeah.
have to explain it over and over and over again. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's just easier to have somebody else explain it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely passionate about the muscle testing because it's
Yeah.
not like everyone has to agree with it or, do all these lifestyle changes,
Yeah.
but I want people to know it's an actual option. Like I think
Yes.
that's the piece that's missing. Like you just said, it's the best, best kept secret. And I'm like, I'm done
Yeah.
with that. I want people,
Yeah.
but this is it. This is what I want. I want, like, after all this quarantine stuff is over, you go to a dinner party and instead of like, oh, who's your doctor? It's like, oh, who's your muscle tester? That's what I want. Yep.
Yeah. And then amazing, like when the day comes, because I think it will, when like Western medicine and a modality like this join forces,
Yeah.
and then prescriptive medicine, be it supplements or allopathic medicine, can like really join forces because we know that some pharmaceuticals start out as nature
Yeah.
and then they get manipulated and shelf stable and all of that. But to like to really, if you're going to dose pharmaceuticals, that it's like dosed for you and
Yeah.
not, you know, that, oh gosh, that's a rabbit hole we could go down, couldn't it?
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
but you know, a world where both can exist harmoniously and you don't have to reject one or the other to experience the benefits of both, if that's where your mind is, and that like the food that we eat matters.
Yeah.
It really, really matters.
Yeah. And I can teach my daughters and you're teaching your daughter, and that's
Yeah,
where the change is going to be, is if the next
absolutely.
actually, if a 12-year-old wants a cereal and is actually looking at the nutrition label, that would be
Yeah.
amazing. Like, and
Yes.
concept isn't out there. And
Yeah.
so we just got to take it, one parent at a time, teaching their kids.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so I was reading this morning, it's a book called Heart-Centered Living. And there's a
I'm
paragraph,
gonna write that down.
Heart-Centered Living by Pamela Cribb, Kribbe, Pamela Cribb.
Mm-hmm.
And it is this paragraph about our relationship with our bodies and the whole healing journey. And she talks about the healing journey. If we, want to lose weight, we go on a diet. So let me read it to you.
Okay.
Think of what happens when you are on a diet to lose weight. If you do this from an external approach, from the head, you start from the diet. Sorry. Okay, let me start over.
Okay, start over.
Okay, think of what happens when you are on a diet to lose weight. If you do this from an external approach, from the head, you start from the idea that your body is not as good as it is. It's somehow fat, it's somehow ugly, it's somehow unhealthy, and it has to change. So automatically, there's a contempt for the body as it is. Sticking to the diet will only depend on your willpower, your ability to subject your body and your emotions at your will, and diets usually fail. They are not born from an inner sense of respect for the body as it is, for you as you are. A change of eating habits can only succeed if you are working together with the body. If you can first accept the body as it is, and if you can be forgiving and loving about your emotions regarding eating, if you bless the body with your appreciation and respect, even if the body does not comply with the many external demands that you put on it, tell the body what you need in order to be healthy. Ask the body what it needs to be healthy. A unique flow of communication will arise between you and your body, a love relationship, which helps you realize your deepest potential.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You took all that
With,
information and you created a love relationship with your body, with yourself.
well, because you helped me find those tools.
Yeah.
I knew how to work really hard, which is not always loving.
Right,
Right? Like,
that's
I'm
true.
gonna work hard at being really healthy, but it didn't necessarily line up with the energy of love. It sometimes lined up with the energy of control.
Right.
And what was lacking was like the love and respect sometimes for what the external conditions were, or like the situation that I found myself in.
Yeah.
Um,
So part
and
of the journey that continues until the day we die is
absolutely.
bring more love into our nutrition, into our yoga.
Yeah.
Like you said, your yoga has already changed. It's just somehow more.
Totally true.
Yeah.
It's more loving, it's more accepting, it's actually like what it is, it's more in line with yoga.
Uh,
It's more yoga.
yeah. And less
Not
head.
like I'm gonna hope I do this thing correctly and then I'm gonna be like, okay, now I'm gonna maybe experience yoga. It's much more integrated. There's much more self-respect.
Yeah.
And that is huge, I think, particularly as a woman.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And what we can encounter as being embodied in a female body in 2021.
Yeah. And what
So
we teach our daughters.
exactly. Yeah, teaching my daughter how to listen, um, I think will be, you know, incredible. And I feel really fortunate that I have a mother who has like embraced that and has always taught me how to listen and listen and be loving. And now with working with you, taking it deeper,
Yeah.
um, it has been just like really, really powerful.
Good.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to tell anybody? I'm sure there's people listening who are on their own healing journey, their own health crisis, cancer, maybe not cancer, but anybody who's in the depths of it and trying to figure out what the next step is and trying to figure out the nutrition and what to do. Anything in particular that comes to mind?
Besides, get yourself muscle tested ASAP.
Yes.
That I feel like there's just so much focus on the cure. Get to the cure, get to the cure, get to the cure.
Yeah.
But when what I noticed, what giant door opened when you and I started working together, is the cure almost became irrelevant. The healing mattered.
The journey.
And exactly. The healing journey matters, whether the cure comes or not. But to be healing along the way in the journey is possible. And it can also be like beautiful and delicious and loving. It doesn't have to be dark night of the soul 24/7.
Mm.
Um,
Oh. So,
so
and this is coming from somebody like you whose end was going to be death. It's like,
I,
there is no cure, then cancer equals death. And somehow
right.
in your healing journey, you were able to let that go and just
Yeah.
be in the present moment of the journey.
Especially when you're like, let's let the body do the work to get in the mode of healing.
Oh, wonderful.
And I was like, oh, wait, that's the real deal.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, you and I have talked about like the genetics piece and all of that. And I can't heal if my mind is like fighting against that, right? And you help me sort of like get a little space from that and like it that I mean I feel like I could go on about that for hours.
Yeah. But that's
like interview part 2.
Yeah, I think so. That's getting out of the head, letting the fear go, getting more alignment, getting into listening to the heart, not these voices. This
No.
not even be yours. It's probably, our parents or society or the, Western medicine doctors. And
Right.
so,
Or generations of like what this journey equals.
Yeah. No, this has been really, really powerful. Thank you so much, Bobby.
You're so welcome. And I honestly like I feel like you saved my life.
Oh, thank you. You saved.
I think I'm really on this planet because of you.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah. So after the tears, then I wipe away.
Thank you. This isn't tears of taking my rice away.
Yes.
Yeah. I almost feel like the closing would be like, get on the path and stay on it. Just stay on the path.
Yeah. No matter how hard it is.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing changes. And the best thing that can happen is everything changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the healing journey has its ups and downs, and you have
totally
hard days. And like Bobby said, you just stay on it.
Stay on it.
Bobby is amazing, as you guys can already hear. So April 9th is her Zoom cook class. You guys need to join. 6:45 Friday night. Yeah. And she does yoga now via Zoom with Prima Brooklyn and Super Soul Yoga. She also does one-on-one cooking if you really want that extra focus, and does private yogas as well. So, big kisses.
Thank you so much. Love to you. I can't wait to see you in person at that gorgeous new office.
I know. I can't wait to show you it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.